I'm Loree. I am originally from the South. I was born in New Orleans, and then when I was a year old, we moved to Oklahoma, so that doesn't really count. But now I live in Boston, which is where HubSpot is, and I'm a support engineer there. So if you are a user of HubSpot, I could probably talk to you, or you have talked to one of my many friends there. I really love being in support because I get to talk with you guys and really empower you to use the tool better to help educate you, and then it's also helping the product to get better. If you find an issue or a bug, we're there to help troubleshoot it with you, and I think you guys have found that when there's an issue, we're on your side with it, and I love that about being at HubSpot. So that is all from me. So I wanted to talk to you about inbound. Obviously, that is the theme of our meeting. So if you haven't had the chance to go, which I know most of you haven't, it is amazing. A lot of the talks are very TED Talk-like, and that it gives a really good feel because what you get is a lot of thought leaders joining people who are just like you, who are marketers, who work in marketing, and you feel inspired and you have these takeaways. And then HubSpot's so great because they put together these events afterwards where you can go out and literally eat and drink on HubSpot's dime and just meet other people like you. So it's definitely something to not be missed. We're going to be at the Boston Events and Convention Center next year. It's going to be September 15th through 18th, but that's the biggest center in Boston. So we're definitely going up. And in fact, oh, wait, oh, there we go. So we had over 54 people, and that's 88% more than we had last year. So we are definitely on the right track with this inbound marketing thing, I have a feeling. So what I wanted to do today is talk kind of through some of the main takeaways from the keynotes. They're very inspirational, and there's some things that we really learned from them. Talk about the keynote that Brian and Dharmesh gave, which talks about the inbound experience, and then the tools coming out with that. So I will dive right into the keynote. So we had Ariane Huffington, Seth Godin, Scott Harrison, Nate Silver, and then Brian and Dharmesh, of course. Ariane Huffington has probably been the favorite at HubSpot because what she suggested is that we have a nap room, which we will be having a nap room in 2014, in fact.
Wow.
Her idea is that you, and I quote, sleep your way to the top. Yeah. Which, of course, definitely love that. But really what she's talking about is there's no use coming into a job or a role being exhausted. There's no reason to just be hyped up on caffeine and barely making it through the day. If you need to sleep, sleep. If you need to work hard, plan your days in advance so that you do get to sleep, because we need to be fully charged when we're coming up with content and creating new ideas. Another thing she really talked about, which I thought was very empowering, is that we have this mentality where we think the world is out to get us sometimes, and things get really hard, and we're like, oh, this thing went really great, so what's going to happen now? Something bad is going to happen. And she kind of mentioned that the odds, if we treat them like they're stacked in our favor, we're a lot more effective, because we think people are wanting to cheer us on. They want us to be successful. In the same way that I'm giving a presentation to you guys, if this was really awkward and I wasn't able to talk to you, that would be really uncomfortable for everyone. So in the same kind of mentality, if you're sitting there doing your job and you're doing terribly, it's making everybody else feel bad too. So it's just kind of like an interesting perspective she gave us. If you think about it, everybody should be doing successful. Everyone wants you to be successful, so it's in your own hands, and just to expect success. So that was one of her takeaways. Scott Harrison, he is the founder of Charity Water, which is a charity about making sustainable water solutions in third world countries. It's a very inspirational talk. If you haven't watched the keynote, it's actually really beautiful. But the way he kind of explained it was he talked about his past and what brought him to becoming so involved in this charity. So essentially he was a club promoter for about 10 years, really into the alcohol and drug scene, learned how to get in every door, knew all of these different people, and he hated his life, and he had no substance. So he just decided to pack up his things and go to Africa and take photos of people who were going to have, who had growths on their face and were about to have surgery. So it was definitely a very humbling experience. But he decided to come up with this charity idea, and what was really interesting from a marketing standpoint is that he was so transparent about what they do as a corporation. So the way that their donations work is, if it's a corporate sponsor, that pays the bills and that does all the business kind of tasks, and then if it's a just normal person donation, that goes to the actual cause. And being so transparent about where their money is going, and being so transparent about what they're believing in and where the results are actually happening and how sustainable things are, is a really good way to look at your marketing as well, because you're showing people this is literally what we're doing and this is why it's working. So that was also really interesting. And then Dharmesh and Brian, of course, were the kickoff of our new product. So what Dharmesh talked about was the inbound experience. So he kind of kicked off the new vision for HubSpot and for inbound marketing, and then Brian followed up with what the products that we're going to offer. So what I'd like to do for this is I'm going to tell you about the experience, and then I'm going to go over each product. If we can do a demo, I will. If it's not really applicable, then we won't. And I will explain the vision, do the demo, and then if you have questions immediately following about just random kind of nitpicky things about the product, awesome, we'll go through them then. Otherwise, we'll just wait till the end and kind of do open question with so. The inbound experience, I'm sure you guys are all very familiar with this first step. It is inbound marketing. So just to kind of reiterate, what that means is I'm putting out really great content for customers to come and find. So just like the push, we're not pushing content, we're pulling people in. MLT Creative has that on their website, and I actually really love that. I think it's very applicable. So let's say I'm a customer and I want to buy HubSpot. So I'm downloading ebooks. I have a really big problem with social media, so I'm watching webinars about that, and I'm looking in their tool. I try a trial. I think this is great. And then a salesperson reached out to me. They're like, hey, so what do you like about HubSpot? And they're like, oh, yeah, I like social media. And they're like, cool, cool. Have you ever checked out one of our ebooks? And they're like, yeah, I have. Why don't you know that? And it's really disjointed, and that's really the way a lot of businesses are. It's their marketing, their sales team are just fighting. And that's not really the way we should be going about it. It should be, hey, seamless throughout the entire period. So what it should look like is, I'm a salesperson, I say, hey, I know you've been looking at a lot of ebooks, and we have this really great tool coming out called Social Inbox. I think HubSpot would really be a benefit, but let's see if we can cater HubSpot to your needs. And I know their needs because I've actually looked through their file and seen it through their contact database in HubSpot. And then when they buy, what does that transition look like? Well, for a lot of businesses, it looks like, hey, what's your issue? Did you try turning it on and off? What's your email address? Like, it's really like, what is that service? And it's actually really frustrating because a lot of the partners we have at HubSpot have terrible customer service. And that's really horrible sometimes. I can't tell you how many Salesforce calls I've had. Anyway, not to throw anybody under the bus there. But what we've kind of adopted is when a customer calls in or submits a web ticket, for instance, and they're saying, hey, I'm having a lot of trouble with keywords, and I'm really frustrated, and your keywords tool sucks. So what do? I look through their Salesforce history that we have on this person, and I see, wow, they are in their IMC, their inbound marketing consultant, have talked about keywords for like 4 weeks in a row. Something is not clicking. We really need to set up some kind of time, and I need to reach out to them and literally drill into this tool like no other. That's what inbound service should look like for a lot of companies. Or I should be able to see, like, I know what their goals are, I know what their really frustrations are, and I'm going to provide them service that really accommodates that. So, we don't necessarily have a product for inbound service at this exact moment. I will tell you, we do have professional services that we're going to start kind of suggesting through your account managers, which is, let's say your sales and your marketing team are really disjointed, and we want to have them aligned a little bit. Some of our team members will actually come out on site and educate all team members to kind of get everybody aligned in the same direction. Or if you're the one person in your company using HubSpot and nobody else understands why we're using it, we'll actually come and explain to everyone and get everybody on the same page why HubSpot is a good idea. So talk to your account manager if that interests you. So then Mr. Brian comes up in his style and talks about Social Inbox. So this is amazing, and you all have it already. So if you're not using it, I don't know why. Maybe it's because you don't know about it. But essentially what it is it's a really great way to monitor, the tweets coming in about your business. You can set up specific streams that, so for instance, like you can search all of Twitter, a Twitter list, a contact list about specific terms. And by doing that, essentially you're kind of targeting what you're seeing. So for instance, Hootsuite does something similar. However, do they have your contact database in their back end? They don't. So when someone tweets out, HubSpot sucks, and I look in their file and I'm like, they're just a lead. They don't even have HubSpot. Why do they think it sucks? Then I have a little bit more context. Context really changes everything in this kind of manner. And the same though, if it's someone who's new and they're like, man, I hate Pardot, it's the most annoying thing ever, or I hate Marketo, I can't figure out a better solution. One of my favorite stories is Mike Volpe, who's our VP of marketing. He saw a tweet about Marketo and someone was really frustrated with it, and he reached out to them and he said, hey, did you know that HubSpot was rated for #1 customer satisfaction for inbound marketing software? I'd love to chat with you. And now they're one of our customers, which is really awesome. So, I'm loving that. So we're going to do a stream
So,
together.
so are you saying if we ever want to get in touch with you, just tweet HubSpot sucks?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's true. If you tweet HubSpot support, like we are on it. Like I have retweeted people who have loved me, and I've also sent them to my manager when they don't. But that never happens, obviously. So I'm going to log in real quick, and then we are going to make a stream together. You're really awkward. I forgot my password. I didn't. Okay. All right. So the best effective example I've come up with so far has been customer service. Can't imagine why. And then, so you have these options. So find all these words can be, if I just want a general, opinion about some, what people are saying about specific things. Include all these words is like the and or logic of lists. So we'll do Starbucks. I'm sure we'll find some opinionated people there. You can also select what location they're coming from. I can't spell sometimes.
Are you putting location in by state, or was there a pull down on that? Or?
It says include two more characters I've actually never seen, I think. Yeah, you can do it by state. Good to know. And then you can also specify languages. So if you have international businesses, this is a really great way to segment streams. Additionally, you can have it email you immediately when someone tweets. So this also can play into the sales cycle, or you can also have it sent twice a day or once a day, and then you name it. So we're going to say HubSpot Starbucks. Oh God, I hate typing in front of people. It's so awkward.
Put the screen behind you.
Do you only have one Twitter account set up in here?
I have two.
And it always seems to pick the wrong account for me.
So one is your default. This is annoying for me too.
Yes.
Whatever the default one is, it always defaults to that.
I had to make sure and go, no, not the B2B Launchpad. I want the MLT Twitter feed.
What you can do, if you just submit a web ticket to us, we can delete out the first and it'll make the other one default and you can re-add it. That's what I've done.
Okay.
Oh, we're now downloading the internet. Okay, well, this is taking more time than it did on my computer, so let's just try that again. Okay, here's one I made earlier. Always have a backup plan, guys. So this one is looking for the word line in Starbucks. So still unsure why I wait 15 minutes in the Starbucks line. You know the addiction is true when I'm standing in about 10 minutes in line waiting for my drink and treat. But that's drank and treat, just so we're aware of the spelling mistakes. So you can see how this could be very effective in, yeah, I always thought these were funny. Zombies exist, they're all waiting in that's funny. But you can really segment these. So this is a funny example, but if you're location-based or if you're really trying to drill into specific parts of your business, this can be really effective. So does anybody have any questions about this tool at this exact moment?
Yes. I have a client, Bank South, and I try and track if their name is mentioned, but I get a lot of banking in the South or Bank of South Africa. Is there any way to specify that a little bit more?
If you when you create the stream, what are you putting in?
Are you doing bank
I'm doing
separate words?
Same words. They also go by the separate words, but it still comes up like banking in the South, Bank of South Africa.
That's interesting. We'll look at it after.
Okay.
So, that's interesting. All right. So our next thing we're going to talk about is the COS, which everyone should be super excited about because it's great. So if you have been a HubSpot customer, so who's been a HubSpot customer longer than a year? Okay. So you all have played with our CMS, and I'm sure are very tired of it. We have improved it so much. So the COS is really, it's great for a couple of reasons. So it really allows for customization, so you can really drill down and build templates. If you guys haven't done that yet, we can definitely do some templates at the very end of the evening if you want. But doing templates and creating your own styles, you can associate specific CSS style sheets with your other styles that apply to your templates, and you can specify which tools they're on. It's insane. There's so many options. It's amazing. And it's really easy to use, honestly. It's a WYSIWYG editor, so what that means is what you see is what you get. You can literally say, I want this color, this color, this color. I want them this close. I want them this big. I want the font this way, and it's done. It's incredible. The other reason it's great is because it's already mobilely optimized, which we all know if we've seen any statistics or tweets about this is a really big deal. Another big deal about it too is customization. Now I believe this is only for enterprise right now, but when I go to HubSpot.com, it knows who I am. That's awesome. What you can also do, what we do actually is, hey, Loree, welcome back to our site. How does LoreeMcDonald.com look? Would you like us to do evaluation? Like, there's so many different options, just in the same way we do the email customization, that we're taking to the site level, and I believe we're going to implement it on the blog as well. So this is really great. I'm not sure if it's something you can ungate for other like professional or basic, but talk to your account managers. We're doing a lot of like beta stuff right now, so this is the right time to ask. Do you want a demo of this, or do you guys feel comfortable with the idea of smart content and like customization? Comfortable? Okay, that's great. We can go over it later if you want to.
One question I did have about it is the pricing is different for this now going forward, right?
I think the pricing is only different for new customers.
Right.
So we have actually raised the prices a bit, but I think if you already had the HubSpot products, you're automatically gated.
But for new customers, content optimization is priced on a per user basis, is that right?
I don't know if that's, I'm not sure. We can look at that. I don't talk a lot on the sales side, unfortunately. Sometimes I do, but we'll look
Lily
at that.
just had a conversation about this with somebody.
I was just curious, since you've announced and launched the COS system, I know that early on with HubSpot, we were so enthusiastic about HubSpot that as an agency, a lot of the people that we would onboard, we would put them on the CMS system and build their entire site on HubSpot. And we found out we were really kind of the exception, that the majority of HubSpot customers would be on a different CMS and would use HubSpot for all the marketing automation.
Right.
Since this COS has come out, have you seen more people migrating? And I think HubSpot offers assistance in that migration, correct?
We do, absolutely.
From old HubSpot, people that are wanting to move to this, there are resources available to help with that.
Right, so if you are a current customer and you're on the CMS, in 2014, we're implementing a new tool process that will recopy all of your pages onto the new tools. It's going to be included in your contract. We're trying to get everybody on the same system. If you want to do it now, you have to do it yourself. So I would really not recommend doing that. There's a lot of things that can happen, like URL breaks and such. You bring up an interesting point too. So we do have a lot of customers who host on like WordPress, for instance, and then have landing pages or use HubSpot forms or analytics tracking. We've seen kind of a rise in the amount of people who want to use the COS because it's more customizable. I can't say if that's going to be a steady thing or if it's just after inbound, but we're getting a lot more options, and there's so many more modules you can do. And Jinja tags, if you guys are familiar with those, essentially what they do is on an email, for instance, if you send an email, it says company name, company address, etc. Those are Jinja tags that pull in from your settings and content settings. So with the use of those, you can do a lot more like auto-generated survey type things. So there's some really good options coming out. So I'm not sure how that's going to spike, but we are going to be moving everybody over.
When did you say they'll be moving everybody over?
The goal is Q1 2014.
Okay.
So, everybody good? Okay. Go on.
Yes. So whenever I log into HubSpot, I see the COS blog call to action. Is that kind of the same thing that you're talking about as far as us waiting until 2014 for it to be automatically transferred? Or, because I thought you can sign up to go ahead and have your blog switched over to the COS.
The problem is we're not copying, and this literally is changing every week, so it might be different at this exact moment, but we're not copying over pages yet because we just don't have the tool available. When we do a migration, we copy all those links and all the URLs and make sure that they move over, but what we're doing essentially is we have our CMS server and our COS server, so when we assign the CNAME and the DNS records, like on your registrar, like GoDaddy for instance, we can't do that on the back end. We can only do that with our tool that we're coming out with, which hasn't been released. So essentially what you have to do is, like, if you're blog.LoreeMcDonald, you have to disconnect it, rebuild it on another one, then rename it blog. So it's kind of a process. That's why we're not doing it yet. But we have seen customers do it. So and it might be a special circumstance too. So your portal might be one of the ones that they want. I don't know.
The process that people met right now is basically setting up everyone redirects from old posts to the new platform. They have the migration service, but they charge you per page.
Yeah, it's
So,
yeah. So if you want to pay for it, feel free. Like, we will help you. But I mean, we're just going to be so much more seamless in Q1. I just feel like it's worth waiting, especially while we hammer out all the bugs. So.
Just a question. I've kind of got a hybrid between WordPress and the COS, and I did, I guess we created thank you pages as landing pages, and it kind of skews the conversions.
Mhm.
So is there an easy way to move them into the, let's say, the actual content of the site side, or would you have to redo them entirely?
I see what you're saying. So you have like, it's categorizing them all as landing pages, so essentially it's like, okay. We do have site pages, which will be what a thank you page would be, technically.
Right.
You might, I mean, you can talk to your account manager, and if you have, so the way, little inside information, the way it kind of works is if a customer calls me and they're having an issue with some kind of part of the CMS tool, and there really is a good reason for them to be on the COS, I will absolutely make a case for you. I will talk to your account manager. I will see if I can make it happen. The similar, I mean, it's pretty much the same around the board. So I would talk to your account manager, explain the issue you're having. I'm saying, you know, since we're using the WordPress integration, I mean, they might suggest creating thank you pages on WordPress. I'm not sure how that kind of plays into the theory.
Yeah, but we lose the smart content.
Yeah, then I would talk to them about site pages. Say like, hey, you know, I just saw Loree at this hug, and da da da. So give them some context.
Yeah, I got her email. I'm gonna tweet her.
Oh, don't do that. HubSpot sucks. Give me site pages. Okay. Did you have one? No, okay.
What I was gonna say is I asked one of my instructors on the training thing after the COS training on landing pages, and I think the reason they're putting those thank you pages in the landing pages is because you're supposed to put more CTAs on there for more offers, it's supposed to be the rate, so that might be the reason why they still need it.
Sure, like giving them the next direction or what to do, or for that matter, giving them related posts depending on what they signed up for. I just found that, you know, when you look at the conversions and it groups all the landing pages together, now I have conversions from the thank you pages, even though I'm finding everybody's signing up for everything that they can on the thank you page. It's just messing up the true conversions in reporting and on the dashboard.
Yeah. No, yeah, and I mean, this is like definitely a use case of why site pages would be great for you. So, yeah. All right. Signals. Who knows about signals?
Billy does.
Billy knows about it.
Billy loves signals.
I do too.
All right, so I'm going to say two statements here. Signals is the best and the creepiest tool we have.
Makes sense.
It is. So if you guys don't know what Signals is, essentially it's a Signals works with Gmail and your Chrome browser. It also, if you have the paid versions, works with Salesforce and Outlook. So essentially, if I send an email, I can check to have it tracked, and when I send it, I get all of these notifications when someone opens it. And someone opens your email more than once, you get those notifications. If they open it immediately, you get that notification. So you can see Brian Halligan sending me this document, and it's called Review and Sign Attached Contract. So wow, I can use that for my sales. These are the examples that you can have in your browser. Elias clicked on our pricing page, so you can set up events for when people are visiting correct pages, like in the events tool and enterprise packages. Dharmesh looked at my enterprise pricing page. Whoa, he's really interested. David cancels a new lead in Salesforce, and then you can see my mom opened the forwarded itinerary from this trip. But it's very cool because really you can, the methodology behind this is, I'm a salesperson and I've been talking to this prospect for like months, and I send them over, a mock-up contract, and I see that they opened it. And then I see that they forwarded it to 10 other people, and those 10 people opened it, and I can see their locations vary. So then 20 minutes later, I call them and say, hey Jenny, I sent over that contract, just wanted to check in and see if you had any questions. Well, I'm top of mind in Jenny's mind. She just looked over the contract, she just sent it on. So this is a really great opportunity for me to come in and talk to her about the sales. So it goes back to the inbound experience thing. We don't want to be intrusive when we're talking to our customers. We want to be in the same top of mind, like in the line of thought that they are. So it's really hard for me to demonstrate this one because I'm not really logged into this computer. But it's free to download into Chrome, so I would definitely do it. If you use Gmail, just do it on your home computer, personal account, and just test it. But if you are interested in the paid, I believe it's, it's $10 per user per month, I think. But you can track the Salesforce results. So if you're a really ambitious sales team, this is awesome for that.
So like you could really be a creepy girlfriend and be like, oh, I saw you opened it, and I also saw that you forwarded it to your boss, and he opened it too, and you're going to tell me that you don't even know what I'm talking about?
Yes, like my boyfriend will send me an email, and I will like look at it, and I'll be like, oh, it was fun later. And I'll be like, hey, I saw you got it. Ooh, sorry, I was busy. But yeah, you can totally be creepy. Or if you're a mom, like if you're waiting for your mom to respond. Yeah.
How does it work for Outlook? Do you have to pay for Outlook?
Yeah, it's part of the $10 per user.
Yeah.
So, but I assume we're going to get more clients. We did originally have LinkedIn and in this, and then they were like, whoa, you guys are using so many API calls, we don't want you anymore. So we're working on that one. So this all relates back to the inbound experience. So this is the methodology behind this is that we have this information about your contacts. We know their likes, their habits, what they're into. So we can use this through email marketing, through personalization. We can check it through social monitoring. We can have smart content on our websites, and we can track it with sales, with signals. So it's all kind of this big picture methodology. So I have an assignment for you all. It's a CTA. I know you guys love them. So if you want, you can go to info.loremcdonald.com/CTA, and that has our signals, our social inbox, and our COS links to get more information if you'd like. You can also literally Google them and find them, but I thought this would be fun to put together. And if you want to look at the slides from Inbound, it's inbound.com/slides. Not all keynotes were on there. For some reason, I think they had some privacy weird things with like Seth Godin and Nate Silver. No idea. But Ariane Huffington is on there, and so is Scott Harrison, and so is Brandon Darmesh. So here's the part where I say thank you, and we open it to questions, and I turn it over to Billy if we don't have any.
Could you go back?
Loree.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Loree. First of all, if you can hold that one.
Yes,
there.
I'll leave this one up.
Okay.
We'll just keep it.
And this is a great time. If anyone has any questions, if you've seen all the new things that HubSpot's announcing and haven't acted on them yet, what we've seen as an agency, and I think you've conveyed some of it to any user, is this incredible increase in HubSpot's proactive effort in support. It's amazing, and we noticed it. I mean, and actually noticed that we had been asleep at the wheel and that it was there, and we were missing all of the outreach and everything. And Glenn and I came back from Inbound just impressed with and having to face the facts that we had allowed some agencies that were new that just responded very quickly and were lapping up all the things being offered, and we were kind of making assumptions that things hadn't changed, and the signals were all there. I mean, you guys had reached out to us, and we had to go back and look and go, it was a wake-up call.
Yeah. And
so I believe that some of those same types of increased levels of account service are for HubSpot users directly too, and it is amazing. It's noticeable too. I'm real impressed with it. So.
The amount of tools and the amount of effort we put into putting out like product videos and like certifications and training materials, I can't even tell you. Like internally, it's such a huge push right now. And support, what we say is support is hot right now because if you guys are familiar with NPS, I'm not sure. Essentially, it's a customer happiness index. Apple uses it as well. And companies like Apple usually like a 70 to 80%. Other companies are usually like a 20-30. The way it's done is like a promoter is a 9 or a 10, that's 100. If it's a 7 or an 8, that's a 0. And if it's a 6 or lower, it's a negative 100. So it's a very harsh scale, but essentially what it's measuring is how likely are you going to say this thing is awesome. So if you're like yes, then we count as 100. If you're like, hey, yeah, it's cool, then you're not really helping us. And if you are like kind of frustrated, you're going to tell people you're frustrated.
Right.
We don't want that. So company-wide support has an 83, and that's insane. So we really amped up, we want to help customers, and we really put in, we have this new project called Source. We have weird names. But essentially it's a new need help icon at the bottom right of your screen. You'll see a little new button, but it's an automatic web ticket submission, and it actually tracks your browser information, so it really helps us when we're trying to troubleshoot. We also have the phone support. It's open. It's 8 to 8. We do have people sometimes on the weekends and nights if they're around. But our methodology in support is to go above and beyond. We want to be sending you resources after the call. We want you to be completely going through your laundry list of ideas and questions, and we want to walk you through the whole thing. One of my favorite customers, her name is Bonnie. She's a VAR and a value-added reseller. Some sell HubSpot. Sorry, terminology. And I will literally sit with her on the phone for 2 hours, and she will go through Photoshop. And we do not support Photoshop, but I've worked in Photoshop, and so she'll be like, Loree, how do I do this image? I'm like, okay, we're just going to go through here, we're going to crop it. But it's insane because that's the attitude everyone really has. And our account managers and our IMCs and our salespeople are all the same. We love helping our customers because we hire those people. We hire the right people to work at HubSpot. So use us. Use support. You have unlimited resources with us. And if we can't give you the answer, we'll find it, which I also love that. So, But I mean, I think the idea right now is to open up to like kind of a group discussion, like if there's specific things you guys are struggling with. We have some more veteran users, and we also have some newer users, so this is a really good time to kind of open.